Hello, fellow litigators. Court is now in session. I hope you had a wonderful Tuesday today, guys. Today was a very eventful day, I must say, as it relates to Mr. BRYAN KOHBERGER and the Idaho 4 tragedy. Today was, of course, the extradition hearing, and I'm pretty sure you guys saw the creepy stares that BRYAN KOHBERGER gave reporters, I would say, as he stepped out of the patrol car, as he stepped out of the courtroom. I would say, the theme of today, if we were to summarize the theme of today, I would say it would be if looks could kill. That's what I would think of. If looks could kill, then BRYAN KOHBERGER displayed that today. He had very creepy looks. It was quite disturbing. It's the eyes for me. Those same eerie looks were the same creepy eyes he made towards law enforcement when he was stopped during his trip towards Pennsylvania and Indiana. And we'll talk a little bit about that also. But first, let's take a look at this eerie looks. Now, the first thing I wanted to focus in on is his hands, because, you know, we want to focus to see, does he have any injuries on him, any scratches on him? And just looking down at his hands, it doesn't appear he does have any injuries, which would be consistent with what Inside Looking said on that Reddit post. Remember the guy that we was posting weird things that people suspect may possibly have been BRYAN KOHBERGER, but nobody really knows? Well, he said that the suspect would not have injuries. And I'm looking at his hands, I'm looking at his arms. I don't see any form of any injuries at all on him. No scratches, nothing, which makes me wonder how well and how carefully he thought about this crime. Oh my God, and look at the air. This is the eyes for me. It's the eyes. It's just so evil and so sinister, the way he even looks at the camera. He's merely just looking at the cameraman. Look at his physical build. He is a pretty tall and broad-shouldered, big build man. People keep saying, oh, he's skinny, he's skinny. No, he looks pretty big build to me. Given his physique, given his background in boxing, he is very physically fit. He used to run several miles with his friend. I'm going to formulate my own opinion that he could have committed this crime on his own. Now, let's just take a look at these videos quickly before we get into the article, and then we will segue into looking at some other information in the case.
Murder of 4 University of Idaho students appears in court for an extradition hearing. Investigators are now.
My gosh, I wanted to stop it there, guys. Look at his eyes. So demonic. Some people, I mean, I believe in spiritual forces, y'all. And this man looks demon possessed to me. And I could be just making up assumptions. You know how we all do when people are accused of stuff. Sometimes we over exaggerate. But I'm just saying, looking at his eyes, guys, he looks so sinister and so evil. And if you notice, he has these same evil eyes during the traffic stop, guys. Yeah, he was 6. He's actually 6 feet, 185 pounds, according to the other article. But his broad shoulders, y'all, is pretty big and broad. Hi, everybody in the chat. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Save Mother Earth, Prima, everybody else. But look at those sinister, evil eyes. And the thing I have to question, you have to ask yourself, if somebody law officials have ambushed your house, busted out multiple windows in your home, busted through your door to arrest you for a crime you didn't commit, would you be this calm? Would you be this relaxed? I don't think so. You would be putting up a fight, okay? Even though, yeah, Prima, we hope that they put up a fight, but guys, this man is pretty big and pretty bulky. And if you look at this photo here, He does not appear to have any bruises, injuries whatsoever. At least we can look at this arm here. We can't see the other arm, unfortunately, but I'm just trying to study this man's arms because I'm just guessing. Again, this is all guessing and speculation. If one of the individuals were to put up a fight, then they would want to scratch the arms or the hands or try to, in the more defensive way to get the knife away from them. And just looking at at least this arm, again, we can't look at the other arm because this is only a photo we have so far. His arms look like he has no injuries, but he would have had time to heal because 2 months have passed. But I would still think he'd have some type of scars on him. And I don't even see any scars. His hands look pretty pristine to me, which makes me think back to the eerie words of Inside Looking on Reddit, because that man has been right to the nail on all of his facts he was giving on those posts. So if it wasn't him, then the guy must be a psychic, okay, for that post, because he said the suspect did not have an SO charge, which is an SEX offender. Not going to be that, and we know he's not. He said that the killer would not have any injuries. And looking at this man's arms, looking at his face so far, I don't see any injuries. And we don't know what he wore to this incident. So did he wear long sleeves where, the person would not be able to scratch or make any skin-to-skin contact? So many questions that I have. So let's continue to play.
Appears in court for an extradition hearing. Investigators are now working to piece together a motive.
Alexis McAdams is in Pennsylvania with more on how police found their suspect.
This afternoon, the suspected Idaho killer wearing an orange jumpsuit and shackles walks into this Pennsylvania courthouse. It's the first time we've seen him in person.
And as you've seen him walk, look how calm and relaxed he is, guys. He's so calm. Would you be that calm? Just put yourself in his shoes. Let's say you were him, right? And you know for a fact you didn't commit a crime. Would you be that relaxed and that chill? I don't think so. I actually saw a man. There was a man that was arrested for a crime he did not commit. It was a grown man, y'all. And he was accused of unaliving a little girl that I guess it's like his stepdaughter, but he really didn't do it. Actually, he was later on acquitted for it too, but he really didn't do it. And they were falsely charging him. And I tell you, that man, you couldn't get him to shut up. He was in there screaming. He was crying profusely. I mean, he was acting very erratic because he knew he didn't do it. He was just crying and crying and crying. He was like, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. You couldn't get him to calm down. But what I find eerie about this man, BRYAN, is he has been calm, cool, and collected from the very beginning. And some of the guards have come out and they have spoken about his demeanor in the prison cells. They are speaking contrary to what that lady said. We talked about a lady who claimed he was being erratic and saying he was going to cut people. Come to find out, y'all, that woman was trying to get 10 minutes of fame. It's so frustrating because a lot of these outlets, they don't fact check their information, and they just do all these interviews with these people. And some of them just want to have attention. So irritating because no fault of our own. We just, reporting what they have stated in their articles, and they actually do have the individuals do a video recording. They identify themselves. They take photographs. The woman was interviewed. So, I mean, there was no reason for us to question whether it was true or false. But after looking more into it, it looks like it's false because the security guards in the prison or jail have come out and they said he's the model prisoner. He's very calm and collected. He just kind of curls himself up and sleeps all the time. He doesn't really say anything. That's what the guards were saying, how he behaved in his prison cell. So let's go and continue on with the video. One thing to note is I thought was weird is that he just waived extradition so easily. Again, someone who is innocent is going to fight every tooth and nail. They're not going to just relax and just accept an extradition. They'd be like, no, you need to prove it up. You need to have a hearing. I shouldn't even be extradited. I'm innocent. But yet he's so calm and collected. It appears as though he is very anxious to get back to Pennsylvania so that they can give him the arrest affidavit. You have to note that no public individual will get access to the affidavit until it is first served to BRYAN KOHBERGER. So BRYAN KOHBERGER will be served the arrest affidavit. Him and his attorney, it appears now he has a defense team now. And a lot of attorneys will be more inclined to take this case pro bono because it's a very highly publicized case. So a lot of these attorneys want to get a lot of publicity for defending him and hopefully getting him off or whatever, getting him acquitted. So you better believe a lot of prestigious attorneys are going to try to represent this guy pro bono, meaning for free. So that's one thing you'll have to know. We won't get access to that arrest affidavit until he is back in Idaho, and he has served the arrest affidavit. He has to be served it. He will be notified of all of his charges. He will be able to read through it before we get access to it. And another thing you have to know is, according to Idaho law, they can have up to 10 days to send him back to Idaho. So he may not even be sent back tonight. He probably is just going to stay in Pennsylvania for the night. So we don't know when he's going to be back there, but it's up to 10 days. So we really don't know when he'll be back, which sucks, guys. So we're going to have to wait a little longer to get that arrest affidavit, which is torture because I really want to know what's in the arrest affidavit. Because all we have right now is that they claim, the authorities allege that they have DNA and that they have cell phone pings. But I want to know really what they have against this guy, because a lot of us are just like jumping to conclusions and we don't know exactly what all the authorities have. But the authorities are being quiet to protect the case. And also there is a gag order, which I will talk to you about, which is why authorities cannot speak about the case. They could have a lot of evidence, but they cannot speak about it because a gag order has been issued to prohibit the defense as well as the prosecutors from speaking at all about the case, which sucks. So that's why this case is being very, 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 very kept under the rug, because now the court has stepped in and not only sealed the affidavit, but they have put a gag order on both sides, so they cannot even speak about the case. This sucks. So we're really in the dark, y'all. And another thing you have to note is this trial we may not even see this trial for several years. So guys, we're going to be waiting for a long time before this case even goes to trial. These trials get dragged out year after year after year. There's going to be tons of evidence. There's going to be hundreds of probably witnesses in this case. So a lot of discovery for opposing counsel, and a lot of probably they're going to have procedural hearings and stuff like that. I pretty much expect for the defense to try to file motions to suppress certain pieces of evidence, especially the DNA. They're going to question that and other pieces of evidence to try to dismantle the evidence. So guys, this is going to be many years of waiting to try to see when this case will ever go to trial. But let's get into some more things because we got a lot to get into tonight.
BRYAN KOHBERGER waived his extradition, so he will be taken by U.S. Marshals back to Idaho. There, he faces 4 counts of first-degree murder and a felony burglary charge. The 28-year-old arrested Friday in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. Sources tell me investigators linked him to the killings by matching crime scene DNA with a sample that had been sent by one of his family members to a genealogy website.
If we have enough data, if we have enough cousins, enough matches, we can eventually narrow it down to just one family and often just one individual.
KOHBERGER's attorney says his client is eager to be cleared of these charges.
They've already stopped the Idaho police from tearing down the crime scene so that they could have their own experts come in.
Investigators now working to learn more about the suspect. KOHBERGER was a student at Washington State. He was studying to get his PhD in criminal justice and criminology. The university is only about a 10-minute drive from the murder scene. Then, over Christmas break, investigators say KOHBERGER drove with his dad back to Pennsylvania in that white Hyundai Elantra that detectives had been searching for. They were stopped by state troopers twice in Indiana for minor traffic offenses, but didn't get a ticket. Once KOHBERGER leaves Pennsylvania, the U.S. Marshals will take him back to Moscow, Idaho, and that's when we'll learn those new details about the murders. Reporting in Strasburg.
So as you guys could see, he was very calm, cool, and collected. And I found that to be very, disturbing, y'all. Very disturbing, because if you're accused, that's the first thing you want to look at is the person's behavior. He is being charged, or he is being accused of some very heinous crimes, guys. Very heinous crimes. Yet he is so calm. He is so relaxed, like as if nothing happened. Because in my heart,
Recordings.
sorry guys, there's weird sounds going on. But in my heart, in my opinion, it appears as though he was waiting for this moment. I just feel like a lot of his different behaviors show someone who already expected for this to happen. In a way, he felt he was going to get away with it, in a way, okay? But at the same time, even though he thought he was going to get away with it, when he was eventually caught, it's as if he expected it afterwards, later on. You know what I mean? It's kind of like hindsight 2020, that eventually he was going to be found out. There are some sketches that they have of him in the courtroom. So let's take a look at that. Some of the sketches that they had of him in the courtroom. People were saying while he was in the courtroom, he was kind of mouthing "I love you" to his mom and his dad, his mom, his dad, and his two sisters. They were all there, but they kind of were covering up their identity as they were walking in. But he kind of looks back at them. He was looking back at them a lot while they were crying profusely, pretty sad about the whole situation, shocked. So I don't have any, you know, any opinion either way about the family, because the family, you know, they really probably, just like you and I, didn't expect for their son to be accused of such a heinous crime. So let's take a look at this video of some of the drawings they had of him in court.
Seat was filled, and Kohberger's family was in the front row. A CBS News correspondent says Kohberger remained stoic and calm while his mother and sister sobbed through the hearing. Following his first courtroom appearance, Pennsylvania State Police hosted a press conference to share more details on Kohberger's arrest.
Tactical assets were then staged in the county, in Monroe County, into the evening of Thursday, December 29th, last Thursday. And in the early hours of Friday, December 30th, those warrants were executed at the location. Mr. Kohberger was taken into custody without incident.
Officials say they understand the public wants to be informed, but sharing certain information could interfere with the court system's due process.
But again, look at the blank stare that he has on his face. There's no emotions. He's very stoic. To me, it appears to be very inconsistent with a person who is being falsely accused of a crime. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I'll tell you about that really quickly, Prima. Falsely accused of a crime. Usually you would be making a huge uproar. If you were being accused of a crime, if you're being held against your will in a prison cell and people are accusing you of something very heinous, one of the most heinous crimes we've seen of I would think, of 2022 coming into 2023, guys. Don't you think he'd be putting up more of a fuss? No, he's very stoic. He just easily waived his rights to an extradition hearing, which I'll explain what that is, guys. And after easily waiving his rights to an extradition hearing, he continues to just be stoic. In jail, he's calm and he's sleeping peacefully with no fight whatsoever. And then when he was even arrested, no fight at all. Either this man is, one of those individuals that lack any form of emotion, or this is very odd behavior. Now, also, I want you to look at his build. He is a pretty big build man. Look at him. He's got wide, broad shoulders. Looks like he's a man. He got a lot of strength in him. I just looking at him. And then also now we're able to look at the other arm that he has there. There's no scratches, no abrasions, nothing. So again, that's consistent with the statements from the inside looking profile, guys. This is I find it very ironic that the inside looking profile has been 100% accurate so far in his allegations. And again, he was speaking factually instead of like the rest of us trying to figure things out. So I don't know, guys. People were saying it's not BRYAN that had that profile, but shoot, the guy is how does he know every single fact then? That's just weird. Okay. So what Prima was asking is, what exactly does extradition mean in this case? Waive extradition mean in this case? I've been really trying to figure it out. Okay. So extradition, I'll tell you what that means first. That is when, for example, there's different types of extradition. In this particular situation, it is transferring a person who is accused of a crime from one state to another state. There can be other types of extradition where it's more international, where you're moving a person from one country to another country, which has a whole different, set of rules. But for this one, as it relates, it's the legal process of moving a person from one state to another state who is accused of committing a crime in the other state that the authorities, the prosecutor, or who the attorneys are asking to move him to. When there's a request, a legal request filed to extradite or move a person from one state to another for this particular situation, there are certain rights that you have. For example, you have a right to a hearing whereby it's a limited hearing whereby the attorneys have to prove, the court has to prove, or the attorneys, they have to prove that you are in fact the person that is implicated in the complaint or in the court documents that state you are the person they want to extradite to the other state. They have to prove your identity. It's like an identity hearing. So the way they prove that is through different pieces of evidence. For example, fingerprints, photos, whatever the evidence they say they have to prove it is you. Now you have the right to either have that hearing or you can waive it. That means you can say, I am going to excuse my right, get rid of my right, relinquish my right to have that hearing for you to prove it. And I'm just going to say, you don't have to worry about proving it. I'll just willingly go. I'm going to admit that I am the person implicated in the complaint. No need to have the hearing. That's what a waive of the extradition means. You're basically relinquishing or giving up your right for the prosecutor to prove your identity as you being the person in that complaint that they're saying committed some type of crime in their state, and they want you to be transported to their state so you can be held accountable for it. You're saying no need to prove it. I'm going to give up my right to have that limited hearing. Go ahead and transport me. I admit that I am the person alleged in this complaint. That's all that means, waiving the hearing. So that's what he did, which I find, guys, to be very ironic and disturbing in this situation, because if he is innocent as he claims, you would be fighting every single tooth and nail. I don't care what his attorney said, because usually the public defender is going to want you to waive pretty much everything. Public defenders don't really like to put up any fight. It's just kind of annoying sometimes. But if I was innocent or anybody else is innocent, they're going to put up a fight. They're going to say, you know what? You need to prove it up. Prove the hearing. I don't want to go back to some Idaho. I didn't commit this crime. I'm not waiving it. But I just find it weird. He is so anxious, guys, to know what is in that arrest affidavit. And he knows he hasn't had access to it because he's here in Pennsylvania. So he knows that he just wants to get back to Idaho so fast, in my opinion, because he wants to get access to that affidavit to see what does the authorities have against him. What is he looking at? What kind of pieces of evidence is he looking at that they claim they have? Because right now he's in the dark, just like you and I are in the dark. So that's my opinion. I think that he's trying to get back to Idaho, just get it over with, waive all this stuff, because he's saying he is anxious to get exonerated. So that appears to me that he really wants to know what's in that affidavit, and he knows he's got to get back to Idaho so that he can get access to the affidavit, because like I said, he has to be physically served the arrest affidavit and review that affidavit with his attorneys before you and I and the public can get access to it. That's why we are not, even if he is already sent back to Idaho, if he has not been served, meaning he's going to have the hearing. Once he has the hearing, the prosecutor will serve him the arrest affidavit. His attorney will go over that. And then after the hearing's over, then we will be able to go and get the arrest affidavit and see what exactly they're saying they have against this man. So basically, that is what a waiving of the hearing is. Hopefully that clarifies that for you. Let's keep playing this video.
We're trying to balance essentially two things: the public's desire for information against the need to maintain the integrity of the investigation and protect the suspects, accused at this point's due process.
Upon waiving his extradition, court order says Kohberger will be in Idaho within the next 10 days. But as his Pennsylvania public defender told our sister station, Kohberger could be in Idaho as early as tonight or tomorrow. Following today's press conference, law enforcement says travel arrangements are being made. Moscow police say that they're keeping these details quiet for security reasons. In the studio, Janelle Finch, Crime 2 News.
All right, Janelle, thank you very much. And new tonight, we have video.
So let's move on to the next piece of information we had about this hearing. Like I said, while he was in there, there's this article, because everybody always wants to see where I get all my information from. So I just at least want to show you the words. So this is where I got my source from ABC News that claimed that when suspect BRYAN was in court, he agreed to the extradition, but he mouthed "I love you" to his family. See, he can do that, but unfortunately, the victims' families, they can't say "I love you" to their kids. But while he was there, his family was there, and he mouthed the words "I love you" to his parents and his two sisters as he was escorted out of the courtroom. But here you can see here, his family was emotional during the hearing. They were crying at times. Kohberger made eye contact with his father at one point during the hearing. So his father was there also, because some people were questioning whether his father was there, but his father was there. So that was his opportunity to kind of see his parents again. And so here again, you look at the demeanor. All you have to really look at a lot of times in these cases is study the demeanor. That's really all we have at this time in witnesses. And just look how stoic this man is. It's like he is literally soulless and emotionless. And it's like a lot of times people say, don't make assumptions and all that. But all you can do is look at this man's exterior. He is being charged of some heinous crimes. And also notice, he is subject to possibly the death penalty. These are serious charges, yet he has not protested even out with his behavior, not once. And his attorney has spoken. His attorney's speaking way too much. The public defender, see, he's trying to get clout too. A lot of these people in this case is trying to get clout, and it's kind of frustrating. But anyways, his public defender has said that he notified BRYAN and his family that the death penalty is on the table. And all BRYAN calmly said was, "Oh, this is going to be a long process then." Would that be a response that you would make if you're accused of a crime you did not commit and you could possibly be facing the death penalty? Just let me know in the chat. Because to me, that sounds real weird and not normal. That's why I'm just saying his behavior to me sounds like someone who already knows he did this, allegedly. I'm just saying the behavior. Okay. So the authorities they're claiming, they said that Kohberger is unlikely to fly back to Idaho Tuesday night, authorities said. Magistrate Christopher Paris of Pennsylvania State Police told reporters that the different agencies involved in the case are still finalizing the logistics transporting the suspect, including who will transfer him and how. I'm predicting they will more than likely have a private jet or some private plane that they're going to fly him back. But again, they have up to 10 days, guys. So we're going to be waiting for a while. Hopefully they move faster than up to the 10 days. But I don't think he's going to be flying out tonight. Paris did not estimate when he thinks the extradition will happen, but said it would take place within the court-ordered 10-day window. The probable cause affidavit allegedly connecting Kohberger to the murders must remain sealed until he returns to the state, prosecutors have previously said. On Tuesday night, Latah County Magistrate Judge Megan issued a non-dissemination order in the case, the Moscow Police Department said. So she basically issued a gag order, guys. So that just makes things even more legally worse for us in the public. That means none of the parties can speak about the case. So this case, unlike a lot of the other cases where people like prosecutors and attorneys try stuff publicly, they're talking about different information. For example, we can think of the Courtney Taylor case where a lot of pieces of evidence has already been leaked to the public. Well, that's not going to be happening in this case because the court has already anticipated all the possible problems with that. And she has jumped the gun and has basically issued a gag order. She said the order prohibits any communications by investigators, law enforcement, personnel, attorneys, and agents of the prosecuting attorney or defense attorney concerning the case. The department said, adding, due to this court order, the Moscow Police Department will no longer be communicating with the public or the media regarding this case. So what that basically means is it's a gag order. It's basically saying you can't speak. If you're privy to this case, you can't, meaning the attorneys, like they just mentioned all the people here, personnel, law enforcement, investigators, they cannot speak at all. They can't answer any questions of the media or the public. So that, guys, that gets rid of that. Kohlberger's attorney, Monroe County Chief Public Defender Jason LaBar, who's been speaking a lot, guys, said in a statement his client is eager to be exonerated of these charges. We already know that and looks forward to resolving these matters as promptly as possible. Again, he is going to drag this out. Now, and here's another photo. Very stoic, guys, very stoic. This is, to me, not a consistent with a person who is falsely being accused of a crime. And again, he is innocent until proven guilty. So that is already well established. He is innocent until proven guilty. I and us are just looking at him and analyzing him and formulating our own little opinions while we wait for this case to be tried in the court of law. So here again, you can see him very calm, very stoic as he's being escorted to the hearing. And you just look into this man's soul. You can look, the eyes are the windows to the soul. He has a complete blank stare. Emotionless. Who does that? You're being charged with unaliving 4 people. One of the most historical cases in our time, at least for 2022, at least. And look how calm and just relax. I don't get it. And you're possibly facing the death penalty? Like, seriously. Seriously. My gosh, I'm just saying. Okay. Crazy. So this is going to be a lot of redundant stuff, guys. And again, just have to note that after Kohlberger's semester at Washington State ended this December, he and his father, they drove that cross country. And I'm going to talk about the video. We're going to look into the video of the stops. They claim it was some pre-planned trip, y'all. And they were pulled over twice in Indiana, once for speeding and once for tailgating. I felt the pullovers. Okay, a lot of people are saying that it had nothing to do with the FBI that were investigating him because they didn't know about it. But guys, all of these different officers and officials, they're in communications with each other. All it takes is a quick call to the Indiana authorities to say, hey, I'm watching this guy. We're going to be possibly, apprehending him soon. And we just want you to see if you could do a quick traffic stop if you have any legal reason or basis to stop him, just to inquire, where he's going, stuff like that, just to get a mindset and get a demeanor about him. Because what I thought was kind of eerie and weird about the stop, I did hear him, and you can barely hear the conversation, guys, but there is a part in there where the officer, as he's having small talk with BRYAN and his dad, he asks him where they're going. And they're like, oh, we're heading off to Pennsylvania. He's like, oh, okay, well, have a nice trip. And I just feel as though like what he was trying to get information, like gathering where he's going and stuff, trying to get. And then another thing that was odd about it is he didn't give him a ticket. So it's like, he didn't even ask for his ID. He didn't ask for his registration. He didn't ask for his insurance. Typical questions you would ask of someone for a normal, regular traffic stop. He didn't ask for any of that stuff. So I thought that was quite interesting. I was like, really, why did you stop them? It's like it seems like as though they were probably clued in by maybe the authorities who were following and tracking him. They might have called into Indiana and said, hey, we're tracking this guy who's traveling over to, this area. And if you happen to see this car, this make and model, this license plate, if you see any reasons to stop him, just stop him and maybe kind of check out his demeanor, get some information about where he's headed, why he's headed there. Stuff you never know. Just getting some, information just to get a feel for BRYAN and maybe slow him down in his travels because they were tracking him down. So that's again just an opinion, guys. I don't know what was going on there, but I'm just giving my own analysis, and that's what we do on this page. Is we use our mind and we give opinions based upon the information that the public, that the news reporters and other people are giving us. Now, they're also saying that the probable cause affidavit, which details the reasons for the arrest, is sealed right now, and it won't be released until he returns to Idaho, and he has to be served that arrest affidavit, guys. He must be served. They said that no other arrests are expected, so this is the guy, guys, we're going to be with for a while. I would say for years to come. The chief said the Moscow Police Department only prior interactions with Kohberger was a traffic citation for not wearing a seatbelt that was issued while the suspect drove the white Elantra. So he only has one little infraction for speeding on his record. That's it. He doesn't have any criminal charges. Steve Gonsalves, dad of the victim, Kaylee, said the arrest has brought relief and comfort. And this is another photo of Police Captain Anthony Dillinger and other members of law enforcement packed and removed the personal belongings of the 4 University of Idaho homicide victims from their rental house last week. So sad. Here they said it felt like a cloud was lifted off of us. He told Good Morning America, all this torture of waiting had a purpose and meaning. Kohberger's family said in a statement, we care deeply for the 4 families who have lost their precious children. There are no words that can adequately express the sadness. We will continue the legal process unfold as a family. We love and support our son and brother. That's what the family has said, guys. That's what BRYAN's family has said. They said that the family said in a statement they care deeply for the 4 families who lost their children, and they have no words that can adequately express the sadness they feel, but they said they're going to continue to support BRYAN. And they're crying sadly. So I hope that nobody goes after his family because they're just as innocent as we are. I'm pretty sure they're shocked about this whole situation and they have nothing to do with what BRYAN is alleged, if they're alleging that he did. But again, just looking at his demeanor, guys, that's really what we need to focus on is his behaviors because we really don't have much to go on. Just all we have is statements from witnesses who have known him. And you can look at this man's demeanor and he just looks like he has, in his element where he's supposed to be, allegedly. You're being charged. And just look at how big his build is. Imagine someone of that big physique coming into your house in the nighttime. You're vulnerable because you're asleep, mind you. You are asleep. They were asleep. Ethan was asleep, so he could not fight anybody or defend his girlfriend or anyone. Okay, so people keep saying, well, how come Ethan, no, this looks like as if they were asleep, like they're saying that they were asleep, y'all. So y'all, I think that he did it. Look how, in my opinion, he innocent until proven guilty. But look at his physique. Look how big he is. Oh my gosh, that's a big man, y'all. The victims in this case were pretty small. Even Ethan, y'all. My. So another thing about the judge that issued the gag order blocking officials' defense from discussing the case, she said that regarding the high-profile murder, that they can't even speak to the media anymore. So we're probably not going to see any of all those interviews that we were seeing, y'all. Nope, we're not going to see those anymore. So we're really going to be in the dark, you guys. But that is what it is. Let me see if I can find another article for you. There was another article I had for you to show you. Okay, so another article that I want to show you is about his mental state. Because a lot of people were thinking that he was going to allege a mental illness or some type of insanity defense. Well, he answered that for us today in the quadruple murder suspect, he denies having mental illness and doesn't fight extradition. So he has already stated that he doesn't have mental illness, because off the bat, the attorneys want to evaluate his mental health to see if he's competent enough to stand trial, competent enough to assist in his defense. Well, he answered it for us, guys. He has already told, when the judge Worthington asked him if he suffered from any mental illness or was taking medication for any mental illness, Kohberger answered no. Okay? Kohberger responded simply yes or no to each question that the judge Marita Worthington asked him. And so he said he doesn't have any mental illness. So he's already has admitted to it, cleared that issue. So that he's not going to be, it doesn't look like he's going to be trying to allege a mental illness defense. But again, things are subject to change. But this at least clarifies for us that that is not going to be a part of his defense. It looks like he's going to slowly try to dismantle the DNA evidence and other things like that. He can easily try to argue that he had been at that house other times, maybe at the parties, guys, you name it. He's going to try to do it. Let's see if they have any other thing of substance in here, or that's all that there is in this one. Specific details of this can be. Okay, yeah. So that's really all that they really have in here. But I wanted you. Oh, look, to bring it up. Oh, look, so to bring Kohberger into custody, state police deployed a high-risk tactical team trained to serve potentially dangerous warrants, y'all. They had a high-risk tactical team. And they literally, what they were saying in an interview today about the FBI when they went to charge into his house, they studied BRYAN's routine and his family's routine. They studied their daily routine to find out exactly what time they went to sleep. So they already knew when to go into the house. They waited intentionally for the whole family to go to sleep before they broke into the house, basically busted all the windows out. They said that they busted multiple windows out too. Isn't that crazy? They literally studied this man's routine. So while he was at that house, they was watching each night he went to sleep. And then when they realized, the timing each night that he'd gone to sleep, that's when they pounced on him. That's crazy. It's like he got karma if he did it again. But again, look at this man's physique. Look how gigantic. To me, he is tall. That man is huge to me. Okay, I'm just saying. He's got some broad shoulders. He's very tall. He is a pretty big man in contrast to those 4 victims who were asleep. Again, they didn't even know what was coming their way. So he had an advantage. If he did it, again, innocent until proven guilty. But if he did it, they were at a disadvantage because they didn't even foresee that it was going to come. Now, Paris estimated there were about 50 state police personnel at the scene on Friday morning. He also confirmed force was used to break into the home, including multiple windows and doors. Guys, there were 50 personnel there that broke into that house and busted in. 50. Can you imagine you being asleep with your family and 50 different officers bust into your house while you're asleep? My gosh, imagine his poor parents. I feel so sad for the innocent people involved, the parents, y'all. Poor parents. Poor parents. And then this is what the district attorney said. First Assistant District Attorney Mike Mancuso said that his office stood ready to assist investigators in Idaho by looking into Kohberger's activities in Pennsylvania. Again, they were studying his routine before they pounced on him. They said, I definitely believe one of the reasons the defendant chose to waive extradition and return to Idaho was a need to know what was in those documents, Mancuso said. Okay, so yeah, he said that too. I think he's right. I agree with him. Which, again, that to me just kind of leans towards a consciousness of guilt. It's like, why are you so anxious to go back and find what's in there if you know you're innocent? It's like you should be fighting tooth and nail. I mean, you should be fighting tooth and nail each process, but he's just chilling. I would have told my attorney, forget what you have to say. I am fighting this. Okay. So let's go into now, guys, the next part of this. I want to talk about this traffic stop, y'all. The traffic stop We got video footage. Will, I'm so glad that TMZ and all the different news outlets have come and showed us this police footage, y'all. First and foremost, the car was looking a hot mess. I know y'all probably seen that video footage. The car was looking a complete hot mess. Did you guys see that? My gosh. We're going to have to stop it and slow it down and do different things with the video footage. But the first thing I noticed, the car looked a hot mess. But the other part about it is we got to see that white Elantra Hyundai that was allegedly used in traveling to the crime scene, guys. This is crazy if he's the one that did it. So let's take a look at this video. First things first, look, that is the Elantra. My gosh, we actually get to see it with our own eyes now because we kept hearing about this Elantra, but seeing it right there, ooh, but it looked real dirty, man. It looked like it been through some stuff. It didn't look pristine like the nice white Elantra we saw as the example one. This one looked like a hot mess. But here's the Elantra, guys. My gosh, we're seeing it with our own eyes now. But let's keep going. Now, first things first, look at this man's eyes. He looks, to me, he looks real nervous to me. He looks like he's on edge. He doesn't know what this cop is stopping him for. And in fact, this was the second time that he was stopped. So this was the first time he was stopped and pulled over. Allegedly, he got a ticket. That's what they claimed. And then the second time he was stopped and pulled over. Now this is the second time he was stopped and pulled over. He didn't get a ticket, but look at him. Like, if looks could kill, y'all. If looks could kill. He looks real nervous and on edge. The dad looks like he's pretty relaxed. He just has the sun in his eyes, but you could just look at the two demeanors. They're two contrasts to me. The dad, of course, even though he has a little squinty face right there, it's just because the sun is in his eyes. Poor dad. The dad didn't do anything wrong. But BRYAN looks like he's nervous, like he's on edge. He's pretty tense. He doesn't know what he's being stopped for. He's like, is this the moment in time that they are stopping me for allegedly the unalivings? If he did it. Look, if looks could kill, I'm just saying, if looks could kill. It's the body language for me. Why in every picture we have seen of this man, he has these very stoic, stealth-looking eyes and facial expressions. Now, also, I wanted to use this photo to look at his hands to see if we could see any bruises on there. The only thing I can really see is right here. Maybe there's, I don't know if that's a discoloration right here, but look at that. I don't know what that is right there. Maybe it could be just a shadow. But we don't know. We have no way to tell if that's a bruise or not. Is that just a shadow? Or is it a bruise? You tell me. But I wanted to look at that. We'll take another look at some of the other photos. I did some still shots of those photos just to kind of study and look at him a little bit more close. I will show you this one here that I have. Hold on, I'll show you. Let me stop this real quick. We're stopping and analyzing. I'm presuming that you guys already saw this video, so that's why we're stopping and kind of analyzing certain things about what we saw. But if you take a look here, again, it's hard for us to really see, guys, so we really can't get a cool, good look. But again, look at that stare. His dad looks so calm and collected. He looks like he's worried and tense and afraid. Like, he gonna be caught. I'm just saying, he gonna be caught into something, caught red-handed. I don't know. But is that an injury there, guys? Or is it just a shadow? Right there where the circle is that an injury? Or is it a shadow? Yeah, look. Okay, so boring nose says, to me, it just looks like he's saying, why you stop me, officer? Yeah, I guess it could be that. But no, I don't think that's the case. He looks really nervous and really tense and over the edge. If you didn't do anything wrong, then you don't have to look that worried. Look at the dad in contrast. The dad, to me, he just looks like he's chill, like just, oh, what's up, you know? But BRYAN looks a little over tense to be stopped. And boring nose, I can use whatever word I want. This is my platform. You don't come on my platform telling me what to say. I will say what I want, unalive. Okay, I said it again. Second of all, we can't usually use certain words on YouTube, so that's why we use unalive a lot. So if you have an issue with the words I'm using, you can take it up with the YouTube or don't be on my channel. I'm going to say what I want to say. Do not try to tell me what I say on my channel. Okay? Amazing Tribe says, bruised knuckle on right hand, index finger. Because you know he had time to heal. What? You might be right. Trying to blow it up as much as I can. That does look like a bruised knuckle, guys, because he had 2 months to heal that injury. So, I mean, is it just a poor photo, poor picture here, a poor still shot, or is that a bruised knuckle right there, guys? And he had time to heal. He had an advantage over the authorities. He had 2 months to heal whatever bruises. I'm interested in finding out if the students noticed any bruises on his hands closely after the time of the unalives. If students in class could say, we noticed some bruises on him, stuff like that. And notice too, guys, I'm pretty sure it's hot. Why is he wearing a lot of long sleeves? It's like, what is he trying to hide? Why is he wearing long sleeves? I find that kind of weird. A lot of men get hot easily, you know, given their body and their weight, they get hot. So why is he wearing long sleeves? And it looks like it's kind of hot. You could see the sun's out. I'm wondering, what's up with the long sleeves? What is he trying to hide? That is the question, guys. What is he trying to hide? That's weird. I want to see what the dad is wearing. But the dad also is wearing long sleeves, so it may have no significance. But it's just a question that I do have, because I'm looking, it's sunny. It's probably hot. What's up with the clothing? My God, the long sleeves. I wonder, did he wear long sleeves on the date of the incident? Another thing to try to look at in the photo here is what is in him right here. Is this just the overlap of the shirt? Or is this right here? Are these gloves? Again, we don't have much good video, so who knows what this is. We might be overlooking stuff, guys, looking too hard into it. But the question I have is those gloves, because I know they were saying he wore a lot of gloves to the grocery stores and covering up a lot of things. So that's a question I have about this stop. Wanted to look and take a deep dive into some of these still shots. What do you guys think? Thank you, Amazing Tribe. I really appreciate you, sweetie. Okay, let's see what Amazing Tribe says. Queen of Squire, I wear short sleeve t-shirt right now. Yeah, I wonder, most men, they get hot a lot. So that's pretty interesting. Interesting. That is interesting. Guys, y'all got to participate in this. I need y'all's input. No wounds or scratches. It's been over a month. Plenty of time to heal. Okay, Sandra says plenty of time to heal. Another point, he wore gloves to not leave any fingerprints anywhere. Right. But what if he was hiding his wounds? I hope. Oh my gosh, Sandra. See, I'm glad we're trying to do this together as a team, guys. This is great input, Sandra. You make some great input. You're right. Wearing the gloves could serve two purposes. One, to avoid leaving fingerprints, but also two, to cover up any evidence of bruising. My gosh, you're right. And that's probably why he's going to wear a lot of long sleeves all the time. I wonder, see, we need to hear from the students as to what was he wearing after the Idaho 4 were unalived. Was he wearing a lot of long sleeves going forward? Was he wearing gloves to class? That is a pertinent question that we all need to get answers to, because that really can, like Sandra's saying, was he wearing all these gloves to cover up some bruises? And guys, we kind of noticed, like you guys said, you noticed some of the bruises on the knuckles. I think Amazing Tribe pointed that out. Thank you, Amazing Tribe. I don't know if that part right there on the wrist is a shadow or if it's a bruise. Amazing Tribe says BK has scratches on his arms at the present time, long shirts, jackets, etc. I didn't see any. You said you saw scratches on him? I didn't see any scratches. His arms look clear as a whistle. And we got a couple of pictures of him here. Let's see if we can look at some of these pictures. Let me get some photos here of him. Because right now, with the with what the clothes he has on now, the clothes that he has on now, guys, you can see more of him. And let me just acknowledge this now, because so many people like to argue so many times. I acknowledge that he more than likely has a bulletproof vest on, and that's why he's even more bulky than he probably really is. He's more of a thinner build. But I'm talking about, look at how tall he is. It doesn't matter how thin he is. Men have more strength, okay? But looking at how tall this man is, okay, on top of his weight, even if he's more thinner, those individuals could still have a lot of strength. And he has a background. He has a background in kickboxing. So that's the other part of it. And he's very physically fit. He is known to run long miles and a lot of things like that. So he has that physical fitness to him, which is another advantage. But looking at his arms here, Amazing Tribe, he doesn't seem to have any injuries on him. But like what Sandra has said, he's had time to heal too. He's had 2 months to heal. This man got so many advantages. But I'm interested in hearing what the students have to say who have worked with this man, if they can testify or anything. And we'll probably have to wait 2 or 3 years when the trial happens. This is crazy, guys. We got to wait so long. And then they got the gag order now. So now we're not going to hear anything from the police or the chief. This is terrible, guys. Man, why are they hiding this so much? Why are they protecting this case more than the other ones? My gosh. I know it's a high profile case, but guys, man, they're not giving us any tea at all. But you don't see any injuries there. Look, arm is clear, but again, he's had 2 months. So really the relevance is going to go towards hearing from the witnesses, the students. What kind of wardrobe did he wear? When did you notice any scratches on his hand, on his wrist, on his knuckles, stuff like that? That's going to be really pertinent in this case, moving forward in the case. But let's go back to the traffic stop. Sorry, guys. I'm sharing the video with the assumption that you've already seen this traffic stop. But if you haven't, I'll just play it all the way through also. So let me start from the beginning and play it all the way through.
off the state, please get your license and registration. When I stopped you, man, when you're driving by me there, you're a little too close to back that semi. About one party, you get in the back of this trailer. We're about one party, 10 miles an hour. So we're going 60 or 70 miles an hour. We're about 6 or 7 parties. So, oh, you guys did? Yeah. So. You got stopped by a trooper? We don't have any SUVs.
So right here at this part, they're telling him that they were stopped by a trooper. So this is the second time that they were stopped. So they're telling this officer, hey, we already stopped before. And he's like, you got stopped by a trooper? And he's like, we don't have any SUVs. So he was already stopped before for speeding. And now they're saying the officer's saying he's following too close. But again, I have a hard time believing they're just stopping this guy for no reason. The FBI and all them could easily have just reached out to the Indiana police and said, hey, we got this white Elantra Hyundai traveling in your area. This is the license plate. Just if you have any CHP over there or highway patrol officers in that area, if you notice any type of violations, if you could just stop him just to kind of look at assess his demeanor, maybe, do some observations of him, ask where he's going, stuff like that, just to get some preliminary observations of him. That's my guess. But hey, it could just be a random stop. But it just sounds weird that this guy was getting stopped randomly multiple times. And then here he gets stopped and this officer doesn't even ask for an ID, a license. You don't ask for insurance. That's weird. Okay.
It was a county guy. Was it like a black SUV? Yeah. Okay. All right. You said you guys were following too closely? Okay. Today? Well, I'm not going to give you guys another ticket or warning if you just got stopped. Just make sure you give yourself plenty of room, okay? So like I said, it's all about how fast you're going, okay? So if you're going 10 miles an hour, you only need one car. Or if you're going, so speed limit here is 7. If you're going 70 miles an hour, you need 7 cars. Yeah. That's the easy way to explain it. Yeah.
So here he's telling him he's not going to give you guys another ticket, and just to trying to explain to him, to follow the speed limits. If you see certain miles per hour, follow those. But again, what I find is weird is even if he's not going to give him a ticket, which the officers have that discretion to not give the ticket, that's understandable enough. But why didn't he just ask for an ID? That's normal. That's normal officer highway patrol routine. They ask for your ID, see if you have driver's license. They ask for your insurance. They ask for just the basic stuff, your proof of registration, the very basic stuff. He didn't even ask for any of that. I thought that's kind of weird. People might argue, well, maybe the officer didn't ask for that information because they alleged that he was stopped by another police. But even the officer didn't seem to believe that at the beginning, because he's like, you were stopped by another officer? We don't have SUVs. So he wasn't even sure. So either way, even if he was stopped by another police officer, why didn't they ask for preliminary information? That's why I think this stop, in my opinion, and it's just an opinion, guys, I could be completely wrong, but I'm just analyzing it from different aspects. In my opinion, I feel like this was just a stop just to kind of gauge what's going on, maybe even slow down the travel. Like, who knows if the FBI or whatever didn't reach out to Indiana police officials over there and say, hey, if you see this car, here's a license plate. We're tracking this guy down. Try to slow him down. Try to gauge how his demeanor is. Does he look, see maybe if you can look, get some observations, ask where he's going, what his intent is, why he's going there, stuff like that. Because there is a part in this stop, guys, where he does ask where they're going, and they talk about they're going to Pennsylvania and kind of why they're going there. So it's like, why are you trying to get in their business about where they're going? I thought that was kind of interesting. It's like trying to gather information. It wasn't like he was just stopping him for the speeding or whatever, but he's asking where they're going and why and stuff like that. I'm like, interesting information. So let's keep going.
It's really it's in the B&B man says 227. All right, you guys have a safe trip. We're not headed. Thank you so much.
See, did you guys hear that? He said, where y'all headed? See, like, why did he need to ask that? You're just stopping them for a speeding. What was the necessity to ask where y'all headed? That's why I'm feeling as though he was kind of trying to find out little bits and pieces of information. And I'm like, well, why would he be asking those questions? It sounds as though he's going to be feeding this information to somebody else. I'm just saying, where y'all headed? Interesting. Why you need to know that, officer? I'm just saying. It seemed like he was kind of digging for other information beyond just that little stop for the speeding. He didn't even ask for he didn't even ask for Brian's ID. So I don't feel like he cared about any of that. It's just kind of like stopping to probe and see what's going on, but have a legal basis for the stop, which in this case was the speeding or following too close. Just an opinion.
Where we're all into. Where we're at. Yeah, it's a long.
Right. He first asked where y'all headed, and he said, and then he asked a follow-up question. Where at? Where's that at? Like trying to know where exactly at. Like, where exactly are you guys going? Like, wow, you digging deep, officer. I'm just saying. It sounded like he was probing for information, which in my opinion, nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, to me, just hearing the type of questions he's asking, it doesn't appear as though he's really too concerned with the violation, that the traffic violation. It appears as he has a different purpose in mind, because officers do that. They do. Like, for example, if someone is, they're investigating someone for a crime and they may not even have the full evidence. And this doesn't apply to this case because we don't know what kind of evidence the officers have. But for example, if they suspect somebody of a crime, but they still haven't built their case up yet, they will try to find other offenses that they did to try to either arrest them, or in this case, a small traffic stop to kind of, gauge who they are, see if they can get additional probable cause, stuff like that. And here it just looks like that's what he's doing. It's like he's digging and probing and trying to find more information. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you guys think about those different questions he's asking.
Oh, you guys scared of airplanes? Okay. All right, well, hey, peace out, Central. Thank you, sir. So if you're going 10 miles an hour, you only need one car. Or if you're going, so the speed limit here is 7. If you're going 70 miles an hour, you need 7 cars. Yeah. That's the easy way to explain it. Yeah. It's really in the B&B man that says 227. All right. You guys have a safe trip. We're not headed. Thank you so much.
See, again, I thought that was kind of suspicious because he's all, okay, drive safe. So basically, after he said drive safe, the whole stop should have been ended. But he goes back and is like, where y'all headed? So like, it's like he digging for something, y'all. He digging. Amazing Tribe says, BK could have very well lied right then about a state trooper and SUV stopped him because the trooper was very aware they don't have SUVs. Maybe. He could have, but then why would his dad participate in the lie too, though? His dad was saying it. It was his dad that was speaking, not Brian that was speaking. His dad was the one that was more vocal. I couldn't really hear Brian's voice. I heard more of the dad because the dad was saying, my son, something. He said, my son just got back from school or something like that. I don't hear exactly what the dad was saying, but he was talking about his son just did something. And then he said something about them being just stopped or whatever. So it seems like the dad is talking, not Brian, but you could be right. You could be right.
We're at. Yeah, it's a long haul. You guys scared of airplanes? Did you? Okay. All right, well, hey, peace out, safe trip.
And then if you heard him, he made a little joke with them. He said, "Where are y'all headed?" And he's like, "Where's that at?" He said, "That's a long drive. You guys got airplanes?" Like laughing, saying basically, you're going to be driving for a long time. But again, it seemed as though he was digging for something, digging for deeper information, which in my opinion is trying to figure out where exactly are they headed to. Because again, we don't know what the FBI, if anything they had about where they were going. But this officer is digging for details. That's why I'm like, I wonder, was this kind of manufactured? Did he get any communications? It's just a question, y'all. Again, we trying to figure out information because, of course, now there's the gag order, so we don't get much details anymore.
Thank you, sir.
But I highly doubt, guys, that they will release to the public. Given that FBI is very private, guys, I highly doubt that even if the FBI may have made a quick call to Indiana or whatever during the travel, they're not going to release that to the public. They're just not. And also there's a gag order now. So I doubt it that we'll even ever know whether or not that was manufactured by the FBI or the local officials that were investigating this whole case. Let's look at some other information. So I wanted to do some follow-up information, guys, about that knife too. So remember we were talking about a knife before in my other live. We were talking about the fact that he purchased this knife here. So there was this man that was from Marketplace, and this man had been accused of being the person that unalived the Idaho 4. It was so sad. This man is innocent, and he was being accused of unaliving the Idaho 4. Let me see if I can find that video again, guys, for you. Hold on. I had a picture of him. So try to remind you of him before we go there, because I know you guys probably don't remember. But if you guys were on that live about the dog being skinned, that's the one I'm talking about. The poor little cute doggy. Let me see if I can find that picture. Okay, so I found it right here. Business account. But I hope. Hold on, y'all. Let me mute this before. Can I mute this? Okay. Before I show you this knife real quick, I just want to refresh your recollection about this individual here. So this individual here on the screen, this guy was falsely accused of being the person that unalived the Idaho 4. They were analyzing this picture. You guys are probably aware of this because you guys have probably been on different YouTubers who saw this guy before Brian was even heard of. And so after this whole thing came out, he came out with this message saying, you know, this is what he said. He said, I got wrapped into this case twice, and it's crazy. First, this picture of me got leaked. However, and then out of nowhere, this guy gets arrested. I realized he was one of my previous buyers. Okay, did y'all see that? He said he's alleging that Brian was one of his previous buyers, and what he bought, guys, was very eerie. Okay, he said, I've been selling on Marketplace for years. This is a business account, but I hope next time something happens like this, people stop throwing others under the bus. It messed up my social life when my friends saw it. But here he talks about, guys, what BRYAN purchased. And the reason why I'm coming back to this, guys, because at the time, I didn't know when he purchased it. And that was very vital. We need to know the timeline. The timeline is very important in this case because it really can kind of go to us analyzing information and trying to formulate our own opinions. Because as I already told you, the court has issued a gag order. So who knows when and if we'll ever really get anything of substance. I don't even know if the court is going to even allow us to see that arrest affidavit at this point because they issued the gag order. And who knows if they don't lift it, then we don't get access to the gag. We don't get access to the arrest affidavit either, guys. So we may not even get that arrest affidavit. I forgot to say, just because they put that gag order. So we kind of have to analyze. That's why a lot of people are analyzing the case because we're not getting information. So we got to look at this stuff because we're going to be waiting for that trial to happen for years. Okay, years. We'll get lucky if it even happens next year, but I highly doubt it. It could be up to 3 years or longer before we get to that trial. So we'll probably forget about the Idaho 4 case by the time the trial comes around, but there'll be a lot of hearings and stuff. But anyways, this is what the guy says. He says, it's legit. He says, marketplace account. I've been selling for years. He said it's a Facebook marketplace account. He said he's talking about BRYAN, allegedly drove from Pennsylvania to get this knife for $350. Now we know, guys, he didn't drive from Pennsylvania at the time, but I'm assuming that he meant because he saw the Pennsylvania tags because BRYAN still had the Pennsylvania tags on the license plate. I'm assuming that he might have this man just assumed that BRYAN drove from Pennsylvania, but because of the tags, but we already knew that BRYAN was in Washington at the time going to Washington State University. But this guy says it's rare and discontinued knife meant for cutting skin. Did you see that? Skin. From what I remember, dude was nice. He was with another guy who sat in the car, flipped, opened the knife. I told him that you can use a zip tie as an immersion way for it. Isn't that crazy? He paid me the money and drove off. This was in October. What's disturbing is it was in October, and I wanted to show you at least a photo of an example of the knife because I didn't get to show you that, but we at least know it was in October. And in October, a lot of sick things happened, guys. In October, you got to go back to my video on it because I'm not going to revisit the article, but in October, a dog was skinned to death. It was filleted. And that little dog lived only 3 miles away from the Idaho 4 victims. And nobody know what happened to this dog, but it's just kind of eerie, guys, that BRYAN buys a knife that is used for cutting skin. In October, he buys this knife. And in October is when this little cute doggy is skinned to death. He was a little dog. Let me look that up. Dog was skinned in October on October 21st. It's the timeline for me. That's what I'm saying. The timeline is very vital. And the dog was skinned on October 21st, weeks before the Idaho 4 murders, and only 3 miles away from where the Idaho 4 lives. And BRYAN buys this knife in October, guys, used to cutting skin. Is this all just a coincidence, guys? Is it just a coincidence? So this guy says it's legit. You can see my Facebook marketplace account. I've been selling for years. He drove from Pennsylvania to get this knife for $350. It's rare and discontinued, meant for cutting skin. What? And here is the photo. He said a white car picked it up. He said a white car came to pick it up. So BRYAN has a white car. BRYAN has Pennsylvania tags, and he paid $350 for it. And the guy says that he identified it as the man as BRYAN. He said, that's the man that bought from my marketplace, and I have a legit marketplace. And he showed the marketplace, and that's his name on there, Chris JJ. But this is a picture of the knife, guys. My gosh, that's what I wanted to show you because somebody asked me to come back and show a picture of it. So here's the knife. And it's a Spy Durco warrior knife. So I'm pretty sure this guy already said he gave this stuff to the FBI. So no need to worry, but we need to look at it too, because it's a question. Is this the murder weapon, or is this the knife that was used, that could have been used to skin that poor dog? I'm just saying. Again, innocent until proven guilty. We don't know if Brian had anything to do with the dog, but I'm just saying the timeline is sounding a little bit fishy towards me, and the location of where the dog was located, all of it sounds weird. And the fact that neighbors have said Brian doesn't sleep at night. Brian's up all crazy hours of the night. So, I mean, all of these little different allegations out there are sitting just weird to me. Okay. He said, it's a flip open the knife. I told him that you can use a zip tie as an immersion way for it. He paid me the money and drove off. This was in October. My gosh, guys, the timeline. Disturbing. Is this the knife, guys? Is it is? Y'all let me know. I need to know what y'all think. Dragonette says she had 750K fentanyl pills and they got for about 200 each. I looked it up. For what? What are y'all talking about fentanyl in here? What are y'all talking about? Yeah, it'll open when pulled out of pocket. Right, Dragonette. So for those individuals who don't know, yeah, immersion wave means the knife will open, auto open when pulled out of your pocket. Right. Exactly. Thank you, Dragonette, for those people. Amazing said, wouldn't be surprised the other guy was BK's father. Was that passenger when BK purchased the 350? Right, that's a question too, Amazing Tribe. We want to know who was the passenger in the car when he purchased this knife, allegedly. That is a question. When he purchased this 350 Sparkle. And I wonder, that's expensive for a knife, guys. Why would he spend so much for a knife? You can go to Walmart and get a big knife for 30 bucks. Like, interesting that he buys this very expensive knife. Like, I'm really disturbed. What do y'all think? And as angry as, hi, Gigi. Gigi's here. Hey, girl. She said, as angry as he was, adrenaline kicked in, possibly giving him more strength. Exactly, guys. Exactly. A lot of people say, oh, he's so skinny, even if he's tall. Nope, y'all. When that adrenaline kicks in, he has the prior kickboxing skills. He's very athletic. He does a lot of long runs. He's tall. He's taller than Ethan and all the others. So he could have towered over them poor young people. And also, you have to understand that they were asleep, so their defenses were down. They didn't have enough time. They couldn't even react. Because, like Ethan, for example, he was asleep. The first stab, he was asleep. So he was already, once he was stabbed, it was a done deal. And who knows where he stabbed the poor kid. TNB and said his dad, the other guy with him on the knife buy. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, guys. I wonder who was the other guy with him. Dragonette, Zana's mom was being sneaky and making millions. Oh, I don't know about that, y'all. I don't know. You had hard to tag. We're talking about Zana's mom getting released on drug charges. Oh, okay. Thank you, Dragonette. Let me check. Let me take a look at that. Let me go back up, girl. You know I was on a roll. Y'all be on different topics. We're not even talking about Zana right now. We talking about this, y'all. Y'all got to stay on task. Stay on task. I didn't know Zana's mom was being released on drug charges. I have no clue. And since she is technically, she's the victim because her kid was unalived. Let's not talk about that, guys. Let's focus on this analysis. That knife goes for anywhere from $250 to $500. It's discontinued. Interesting, Dragonette. I wonder if he's I wonder if he collects knives. That's interesting, guys. But that's kind of eerie. It's just you putting these different pieces together. It's kind of disturbing. Do you guys think this is the knife that was used in the tragedy? Natasha. Hi, Natasha. Natasha says, you heard that the doctor that did Shanquella's autopsy was certified to perform autopsies? Girl, you on a different topic. Again, we're not going to go into different topics, love bug. We're going to do that on another video. I'm not going to talk about Shanquella on this video because we're talking about the Idaho 4. Stay on topic, y'all. Stay on the topic. That hard is hard to go anywhere. Okay, yeah. So y'all let me know what you guys think about this. I don't know. We just trying to put pieces together. Again, Brian is innocent until proven guilty. We just want to kind of analyze everything to put everything together, y'all. Oh, no problem, Dragonette. There's no need to apologize about anything, girl. We all sitting here trying to analyze different steps. So no need to apologize about anything, sweetie pie. She said, but it started with the difference in police stops between BCK and if it had been a black family. Oh, yeah, that's true, Dragonette. You're right about that. If it had been a black family, girl, it would have been a whole different story. It would have been all kinds of tickets. You know what I mean? Would have been all kinds of tickets. Yeah, like what Prima said. Yeah, if y'all could please like, there's only one like. Are y'all all haters out there? At least like the button. Come on, y'all. That's messed up, y'all. That is messed up. No likes. All right, well, I'm getting off this live since nobody liked the video. Have a good night, guys.